Mr. A here, saying, how y'all doing?
Yo! Are you ready to rumble? Or should I say tumble? Cause I don't stumble or fumble like a Gregor Brian gumbo. Standing on the ground, flat feet firm, killing worms and germs. And I'm doing it on my terms. Intellect with a little bit of militant.
Welcome to the Rumble. We are back and better than ever, helping you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We don't want you sucker punched, so we're here each and every week helping you keep your guard up. I am Jeremy Lavelle with Remedy Claims Consulting. I'm at Claims Coach on Instagram and TikTok, and they just call me the mouth of the South. And alongside of me is our very special guest, whom I am very excited about, Miss Jessica Odell of Public Service Adjusting, and the breathtakingly beautiful, the stimulatingly stunning, the one, the only Baby Cakes, Miss Donna Lavelle. How is everybody doing today? Good. Awesome.
Not bad.
Awesome. I'm super excited about this show. I cannot tell you. I didn't want to wait the 1 week because when we were originally trying to get Jessica on here, do you like Jessica or Jessie?
Jesse or Jess. Jessica kind of sounds formal. I don't know. It just kind of sounds stuffy.
Okay, so Jess. So when we were trying to get
Jess or Jesse,
when we were trying to get Jess on the show, we were kind of going back and forth on Messenger, and we found a topic, and I didn't think we were going to shut up about it. And I finally said, "Man, I did not want to wait the amount of time for the schedules to kind of line up, but here we are." And I am so happy that you've come on. Welcome to the Rumble, Jess. Thank you so much for coming
on. Thanks for having me, guys.
I'm outnumbered now.
Yeah, well.
You are.
Now I'm outnumbered.
Yep.
There we go. Well, I'm probably more than enough for anybody.
Yes.
So
you're like 3 people.
That's true. Especially according to the bathroom scale.
Oh, my God.
There we go. So that's out there. So, Donna, tell us kind of what's going on in the world. Do you have any kind of like fun things that you want to share with us?
Yes, I do. Okay. I have fun facts. Today is... Shit. I just lost it again. Hang on. Every time I click on it, it goes away. Okay. Today is July 19th. It is the 200th day of the year, and we only have 165 days left until the end of the year. Today is National Stick Your Tongue Out Day. I don't know why. And it's Daiquiri Day, which I get. You get that.
What day
I think
is
we
it?
can all get behind that one.
Every day is Daiquiri Day. Let's see. Did you know that on this day in 1941, Tom and Jerry made their first named appearance in the Midnight Snack, where they were previously called Jasper and Jinx.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yep.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
Did you like the newer Tom and Jerry or the original, the older one?
I liked the older. There were 2 older ones.
Yeah.
There were 2 older ones. I didn't like the one, but I liked the other one.
I didn't like the one where it was like a variety show. That was terrible.
Oh.
Are you old enough to remember that, Jess?
I don't know. I was born in 82, so it kind of depends. I might have been right on the cusp of
Yeah, you were probably...
Yeah, 10 years younger. I would have been on, but I mean, cartoons got really interesting in the 90s, right about the time you were, the late 80s, the early 90s. That's where it got really interesting.
They became made for adults, and kids had no idea. They just were laughing about it, and adults were laughing about some of the stuff.
Remember, the 90s brought us The Simpsons.
Yes. We were laughing for a completely different reason than the kids were.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to think who, is it Matt Groening? Is that how you pronounce it?
Matt Groening, I think.
Man, what a comedic genius. That's a great cartoon. But Tom and Jerry showed up on this day back in 1940 whatever. 1941.
And that's all I got.
That's all you got, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Well, so we had Tom and Jerry in World War II. So
yes.
there's that. I mean, I can't tell you enough. How excited I am that at least we had some cartoons to watch while we were fighting the Japanese.
Yes.
There we go.
I look at the junk our kids watch on the iPads, whether it's TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever. I keep telling them, I was like, what are you even entertained by? These people are idiots.
Right.
Well,
there's no storyline. You're learning nothing. There's no story. And half of it's not even funny.
My IQ drops when I walk through the room.
My stuff's funny. And I do watch a lot of stupid TikTok stuff.
Well, guys, we have got a really cool show that's it's about raising awareness about the public adjusting profession. While we will probably concentrate a little bit on some business development, I think the idea here is just letting the public know who we are. These topics are going to be discussed in 3 different rounds. Those rounds will be 15 minutes each. When you hear this sound, you know that the round has begun. And when you hear this sound, you know that the round is over. Guys, if you hear anything funny or anything cool, it is probably not me. It is certainly Baby Cakes over there doing all the twisted and tweaking. So make sure you drop your comments in there and let her know how funny you think she is, because she makes us look cool each and every week. Guys,
follow me on TikTok.
I'm ready to dive into this because round 1 starts right after this. Public adjusters, listen up. It's Jeremy Lavelle, owner of Remedy Claims Consulting, host of The Rumble, and most importantly, your claims coach. Public adjuster training is one of the hardest things to find. Sure, you can take some online seminars, you can show up to conferences, but none of them tailor training just for you until now. Whether you need to learn how to estimate, scope, negotiate, or prospect, I can help you drill down on the skills you want to develop. Maybe you're just starting out and you need to learn the claims process from A to Z, or you're just wanting to help. Are you just wanting help on strategy on a specific claim? I can help you find the traction you were looking for and learn how to truly control the narrative in the ever-changing world of claims. You can reach out to me directly at 888-596-8772, or you can find me on the web at remedyclaims.com and just click Get Started. That's 888-596-8772 or remedyclaims.com and click Get Started. You can even shoot me an email at jeremy@remedyclaims.com. That's JEROMY at remedyclaims.com. It's time to move your career to the next level. Round 1. Social media. Forgot where we started. Round 1, social media.
Super genius.
So when it comes to raising awareness, Jess, I think social media is the very first available thing that really comes to mind, really, with anybody trying to raise awareness about any business. But the public adjusting community has a lot, it seems to be like a very active social media presence, whether it's on, forums or whatever the case may be, Facebook, and then all of the different videos we have. And I know that you're pretty involved in them. What do you think about that social media thing, and how did you kind of plug into that?
I like social media for engaging in conversation rather than kind of presenting some sort of sales pitch, like or that we can work miracles. I like using social media as a means of connecting with an individual. They're in their comfort space. I'm in my comfort space, whatever. But it allows us to not just say this is what we do, but it allows us to say, tell me your story. What damage have you experienced, what happened when the storm came through, or just when that pipe burst, just walk me through what happened, and then how did you get to where you're at now, and what is your pain point or pain points, and I like using social media to use that opportunity to provide like free tips and tricks and to help them without feeling like there's an obligation. I think all too often there's this sense of, okay, well, if I reach out to somebody, they're going to sales pitch me and they're going to have, I got to sign with them, or they got to, commit to something. And I think we have an ability right at the tip of our fingertips to reach into somebody's living room or their workplace or wherever and just have conversation and to give the tips and tricks like a friend would. You make a friend.
Well, and the other thing is like, let's get away from, and I think I opened this up with the different forums, and the only reason that I brought up our community forums, that is an open discussion, whether it's about this claim or this carrier or that carrier. I think the activity of social media and being aware of it there, because there's a whole lot of things that go on social media. Like I remember one of the very first claims that Donna and I, worked together, it was because she was just scrolling through her social media feed, not really trying to do anything at all as far as promote the business or anything. She was just doing her morning scroll and coffee kind of thing. And she sees a friend of hers that her gutter had backed up into her house and she had video and everything. And Donna was Johnny on the spot and sent her like a Facebook message, or I don't know if you put a comment in or
it was a PM.
You just sent her a private message on Messenger or whatever. So, so she reaches out to there. We show up. I take a look at thing. It is not the worst loss in the world, but essentially we go out and we handle this loss for her. And that loss is actually very specific in my head because it was the very first one that I used the proof of loss packet on it. And this is before I had heard anything from Cal Spoon or even knew who he was. It was sort of that concept and idea. And I was like, wait a minute, what if I just sent everything in all at one time?
And we got in at the beginning where we filed the claim for.
Yeah, we got to file the claim for her. We, had all the documentation. The carrier was completely unaware of what was going on. And believe it or not, we sent this in. The adjuster never came and inspected it, paid it completely and totally right off of my proof of loss packet.
A week later,
and that claim was done.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's social media. So, I love, because one of the things people love to do, if you're watching your social media feed and you're a public adjuster or you're a contractor that's listening to this show, you know what I'm talking about. You're scrolling through, and all of these people who don't know anything about hail claims or tornadoes, they will start pulling tennis balls and golf balls out and measuring them against the hailstone. You know what? You see this a lot, right, Jess? So tell me about some of the things. Have you pulled any just random business just off the social media feed? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, actually it has. But what I do is I try to engage down in the comments first to see if I can't generate conversation with a few individuals.
Sure.
And then go over to the private messaging and be a little bit more serious. If it seems, you kind of got to judge the temperature of the waters, right?
Right.
And then see who's actually in need of help and who might, be willing to have a little bit more conversation with you. But yeah, it does happen. And it's the kind of the same with the Nextdoor apps or those, community based pages.
Mm-hmm.
A little hailstorm came through or some high winds or something just came through and everybody's griping and complaining about how everything just got trashed and whatever. And you can just reach right out through the Nextdoor app and start generating conversation.
And I think that's the idea, because the idea here is not to close a sale. The idea is to raise awareness of what you can help people with. And so one of the things that I do is I'm there to answer questions about, does anybody have any questions about how to file an insurance claim? And that's really what I'm doing. I'm just there to answer questions. I remember during the freeze, it's like, hey guys, I actually did a full conference call during the freeze. There was a small group of people that just had questions about insurance claims and how all of this worked and whether or not their plumbing bill would be covered, because they heard that their plumbing bill wouldn't be covered. I said, well, generally, if your pipe breaks, no, it's not. But in this case, if the pipe broke because it froze, then yes, it is covered. And so I got into helping them understand their policy. And I think that is one of the great things as we see. I don't know why it catches my eye, but anytime somebody's got some kind of claim, and I am just scrolling through my friends list. I've got a friend in North Carolina, just moved there. And after he moved, he installed his washer and dryer, and his washer blew up on him. Brand new washer, had it delivered. His washer blew up on him, wrecked his brand new home. He hadn't lived there more than 20 minutes. And so
what he gets for moving away.
Well, yeah. But he had moved from Oklahoma, so I can't really blame him for moving to. Love you, Oklahoma folks. I'm just kidding. So, I think social media is a great place to kind of keep your eyes open, not necessarily for business development, but one of the things that helps us raise awareness is being there to actually help the community.
I have a question. So when you go into these forums, and there's usually 50 agents in there, how do you combat them whenever they go, well, I can help you do that? And because I want to say you don't know what the hell you're talking. You don't know anything about claims.
Well, often agents are very handy when it comes to filing a claim, and getting the claim filed,
Yes, that's
and
true.
getting the information, and they can give them some general information as far as mitigating. It's like, I want to make sure that the insurance company sees this tree hanging in my living room. It's like, well, hang on a second. Those agents are kind of the first line of defense, because really and truly, they don't know. Most of the time, a public adjuster, people don't find out about a public adjuster until they're already pissed off, and we're there to settle
desperate.
it. Yeah, desperate to actually get paid. They've been underpaid for whatever reason. And so that is where I look into things, and I'm, as far as getting agents kind of on your side, that's one of the things I do is I go and talk with agents. Do you talk with any brokers or anything like that ever, Jess?
So I'm a little bit of a unique PA in that I've chased hurricanes for the last 4 years. So the whole, establishing roots and growing a community, in my backyard, I'm just now doing with PSA this year. So, yes, we are now growing our Texas office. I've now linked up with, the Marshall, Texas Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to go to the one in Shreveport because I'm 30 minutes from there and 30 minutes from Longview. May even go all the way out to Tyler. I'm going to start getting into the BNI groups. I'm going to start, pushing that out because, yes, now we're going to grow it. And I get to stay here because previously I've been living in Louisiana and Florida.
Right. And I get that. I really get that. Did you use social media much? If you're chasing, what was the first hurricane you went and chased as a public adjuster?
Laura.
So that was down in Louisiana. It's not too far from where you are there in Marshall. Guys, for those of you who don't know where Marshall is, it is absolutely on the border of Louisiana and Texas. It is just west of Shreveport. And so, I mean, it sits like right on the border of Louisiana and Texas.
Fun fact about Marshall, there is a movie about it where their basketball team.
Was it their
football?
Their football team.
We are Marshall. That's right.
Almost everybody died in a plane crash.
Is that from Marshall, Texas, or is that Marshall University?
Marshall, Texas.
I thought that was Marshall University.
I'm not sure about the basketball team. Anyway, there is a football movie called We Are Marshall.
Right.
And that is Marshall, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
Texas and our football.
Touchdown!
Yeah, we love our football. That's a fact. So, I know that when we, chasing hurricanes, you've got to get in there and you've got to get in there quick. And I think when you're doing did you do a lot of canvassing there to raise awareness?
So yeah, it was mostly just show up and be present. We actually didn't spend a dime on marketing at all. And we had hundreds of claims come in. You show up, you are present. If you're at one house and doing an inspection and you're there for 3 hours. If you're doing the right thing and documenting the loss inside and out, you're there for 3 hours. So, and then the neighbors start talking. And then those neighbors start talking. And the next thing you know, you've got the whole block or the whole neighborhood. And then that gets out to the church, and that gets out to the nail salon and the hair salons. And it just spreads like wildfire at that point.
So were you down there solo, or were you working under a different firm? I mean, how did you work that?
So Complete Adjusting Services is based out of Baton Rouge. Big Mo, Mario Baralou, bless his heart, may he rest in peace. My older brother I never got to have is what I used to call him. He had started the company and in its infancy wanted to bring me on to help grow it. And so I was basically his chief of ops. We just took it from 3 people to 13 people in a few months and took on Hurricane Laura. And it was just, like I said, largely word of mouth, being present. It also helps when you have a big personality like Big Mo, everybody knew Big Mo from New Orleans all the way out to Houston, Texas. I mean, everybody knew Big Mo. So that did help. But yeah, that was my first hurricane. And it was, we were taking on claims, drinking through a fire hose. It was great.
Man, I have obviously worked during Hurricane Laura. I actually handled about 90 different properties. And I think all total, it was only like 5 or 6 actual claims, but they were commercial rental rental policies,
Right.
and it was 90 different properties. I'm going to tell you, no matter if it was only 5 claims, it felt like 90 claims by the time we were done with that, because they were full guts. And
Yes.
and you know, when you're out there and you're going to do this, and I mean, and that's a great place for new public adjusters to go if they're really kind of wanting to get, no pun intended, their feet wet. But it is not for the faint of heart, because the destruction is so heavy. And I think a lot of people learned that with Ian, you know, and
yeah, we had 21 days of no electricity out there at Lake Charles, trying to
there at Laura,
and investigate claims day in and day out. No electricity. I mean, we were topping off on gas an hour and a half outside of the zone just to get into the zone. I mean, you were packing, you know, tons of water, you know, little tuna packets. I mean, we were all eating out of our trucks and on to the next house.
Did you have
it
a
was
trailer?
great. I wouldn't change it.
Did you have a trailer, or did you have to drive in? What did you have to do to, as far as
initially we had to drive in, because it was just, there was too much destruction and devastation, and there was not really anywhere we could stay. And since Mo and the company was based out of Baton Rouge, we just felt it wasn't too bad to just drive. And then eventually we were able to find a rental and establish some corporate housing there.
Well, it's never easy. It's never easy. I personally, I mean, because I am not in a hurricane area personally, you know, and really neither are you. And I have not.
I'm hail. Yeah, we're hailstorms up here. That's it.
Right. That's and our catastrophe season.
Roof only claims.
Yeah. Boy, and Donna, like Donna says, roof claims will hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
They will challenge every part of you.
They'll make you want to quit.
It will daily.
Yes, they do. They will sometimes make you want to quit.
And our catastrophe season,
the games are ridiculous.
Our catastrophe season is kind of like the direct opposite of hurricane season, because hurricane season starts in June, and it doesn't really ramp up and kick off until late August, early September.
That's right.
And we're looking at things like with the freezes, and we're working, you know, and so one of the things that I would say, if you're wanting to get people to be aware of who you are, is when you have these isolated events that are not necessarily huge jump on events like a hurricane. When you have these isolated events, social media is a great place to kind of, you know, establish a presence, but don't go out there going, we can get you more money than you've ever seen coming and that kind of thing. Just answer questions. And that's how you raise awareness. And when you raise awareness and people are aware of who you are, things get a whole lot easier for you. So do you have any final thoughts there on that social media thing? It is, I mean, honestly, Jess, social media is not my favorite thing. Even though I do podcasts and occasionally you'll see me do videos, I am not Mr. Social Media. I have gone into social media kicking and screaming.
I had to force him.
Oh, it's just not my favorite thing.
I've noticed, especially on the business owner side, I've noticed that a lot. And I think also some of us that are older and kind of remember what life was like before social media. Yeah, it is a struggle. It feels like an invasion of personal privacy, whatever. And you know, who wants to be social? We have business, we have work to do. But I will tell you, engaging with audiences and raising the awareness versus just trying to do a sales pitch, that raising the awareness will come back around. The return on investment will happen for you, because people are going to start seeing your name and your face over and over and over. They will connect with you. I can't tell you how many times I'll go to a conference thinking I'm not going to know anybody. I'll just chill at a table off to the side or something. As soon as I walk in, people are asking me about my chickens, the barndominium build, all of this stuff. And I'm like, just don't think people ever pay attention to my social media page, but they do. Everybody wants to connect. So why not use it? I think we should, as business owners, as second in command, as chief of ops, like leadership in general. It shouldn't just be the younger staff or the younger PAs or the younger estimators. We should be leading by example as well. Put in the time, because the return on investment is there.
Absolutely. I'm not even going to add to that. I'm just going to leave it at that. So if you've got a couple of extra minutes, hit the rewind button and listen to that again, because that was awesome. Guys, we're going to get into round 2 because it starts right after this.
One of the most difficult claims you can work is a contents claim. It requires extreme detail and significant documentation. Ricky McGregor with Monarch Claim Services is the expert you need on your side. She will handle on-site evaluation, inventory, photo documentation, pricing, and overall contents claim organization. She will work with your team beginning to end so you can focus on the rest of the claim. Do your client a favor and call Ricky McGregor with Monarch Claim Services. You can reach her at 515-783-1434. That's 515-783-1434, or find her on the web at monarchclaimservices.com.
Round 2, networking. Now, networking is, I'm going to let you go first because I'm interested to kind of hear what kind of how you're kind of diving into this, but I'm going to tell you that is solely my single most, that is what I use for business development. I do not advertise. I don't do anything. I just simply use networking. But tell me a little bit about some of the groups that you've been involved in and what you have found there.
So I definitely have to give credit to our company's owner, Tina Nabhan. She's the one who has really, she and Christina Muha, who is our senior PA, the two of them have really helped me understand the importance of starting within the community and working outward. Because again, I was just running around all over the whatever, chasing hurricanes. It's very, very different versus you live here. This is in your backyard. How do you network locally and build that out? So the two of them have really led by example in this. So first and foremost, they sign up with the Chamber of Commerce. Don't just sign up, but show up to their meetings. Now, what I've learned the hard way is after attending the ones out in Florida where people are very, very active, there are lots of people in attendance. They're very consistent. They're at the same couple places every week, same time, same bat channel, all that good stuff, right? People show up. The one out here, and I imagine in some other places where it may not be as robust or as developed or long-standing or whatever, whatever the case may be. There's some that are not going to
populated. Yeah, right.
But having recognized that maybe some of the local Chamber of Commerce might not be that strong, now I kind of feel motivated to go, but why? What is their struggle? Maybe they need help. Maybe they need some other leadership as well. So again, it's not just getting into it as a means of, well, here's my business. How can my business help your business? But now I'm coming in with this other mindset of, okay, I keep seeing and hearing these negative things about our Chamber of Commerce. Like now I feel motivated to try to turn that around and use some of my military leadership and some other, means of leadership to maybe kind of turn that around. And then I'm turning it around from a different perspective, not just from how can my business benefit from your business? Now it's more, how can we keep the Chamber of Commerce up and growing and getting stronger and being perceived as a strong, worthy, community to join. BNI groups, that's something that's very new to me too. That's, I can't remember what BNI stands for. Business Networking Initiative. I don't remember what the I stands for. Thank you. Okay. International. So I've been looking into that, and now I see that over in Shreveport, there are a ton of different chapters. Over in Longview, there are, in Tyler, because that's kind of where I'm starting right now with this local networking and building that out, is right along the I-20 corridor. But now I'm kind of just in this infancy of, okay, now I got to figure out what are the differences between each one of these chapters and which one would have maybe a roofer and a realtor, maybe an attorney, what stuff like that in there.
Sure.
Churches, getting involved in churches, real estate groups, conferences, I kind of struggle with. I'm still kind of thinking, how in the world does that help raise awareness to our target audience? It helps us network amongst an industry, but I kind of want to look at getting outside of those traditional conferences and getting connected. You know what I mean?
Look, we all like to hang out where it's safe, right? where when what we're trying to explain what we do makes sense to whoever it is that we're talking to. I get it. There is some value. There is some value to going to conferences because a lot of times, for every public adjuster, especially in Texas, for every public adjuster, I've actually looked this statistic up. There are 1,276 roofing companies. I actually made that.
There probably are more.
It sounded fabulous.
And those of them were established like yesterday.
And they're a really good sales force. Now there's some pitfalls there to using roofing because a lot of roofers canvas, they create that urgent, immediate need for assistance and help, and they help a lot of people. I say by and large, I'm going to be optimistic here, help a lot of people out with some sort of claim protocols. Although I will say
they do.
Roofers are not allowed to advise you on a claim. They're not even allowed to advise you on whether or not you should file a claim. So you want to be careful. You want to talk to a claims professional. If you cannot find a public adjuster in your area, I would encourage you to reach out to your agent. If you have questions about filing a claim and you're not a licensed insurance professional and you happen to be listening to the show, most people listen to the show are public adjusters, but contractors are not allowed to advise on a claim. Now, I know that it happens every single day, multiple times a day, and there's no real sort of dog at watch there, if you know what I'm saying, to kind of police whether that happens. And by and large, I would say roofers can tell you whether or not you should file a claim. I think it's pretty fair understanding. They have a pretty fair understanding on what's available there, but there are so many different policies that you've got to be careful. I cannot tell you the number of people who have an ACV roof policy. A roofer told them, "Oh yeah, file a claim," and it's not that it's not a covered loss. It's just that there's no full replacement cost for it because they have an ACV policy or a predetermined depreciation schedule within their policy. And now the roofer is in a position and he can't get, and the first thing they do is call a public adjuster. It's like, oh no, what do I do? How do we get more money out of this? Is there any way we could make a Windows screen cost $8,000? Those kinds of questions.
So a conference I thought would be interesting to try. I have not tried one, but like some kind of conference where there's a lot of disaster management professionals present.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
So, and then maybe see if we couldn't, a PA couldn't get in there and be a speaker, and speak a piece about, okay, disaster has struck. You are face to face with people who need help beyond just, I need water and food, but now their property is severely damaged. They don't know that they have options. Half of these people don't know that public adjusters exist, the disaster management leadership. Another great networking source would be your local police chief, your local fire chief, right? Anytime there's a fire, just talking to those guys, developing a relationship with those folks, providing them the help and the helpful tips and tricks that they can then pass on to people as they're out there trying to help on the front line, so that if they need to come back and bring in a PA, they can say, oh yeah, oh no, I know one. They talk to me all the time.
Right. I firmly believe that that's really the best person to call if you're not sure if you have a claim. I really think, and if the PA is a good PA, he will advise you through the claim. He'll make sure he doesn't hurt the claim. You know what I mean? And help you and give you the steps to prove the loss and leave the option if you would like to employ their services to help you prove the loss. But I think the job of the job number one of the public adjuster is to explain to them, these are your duties after the loss. These are the things that you do. And yes, it is a pain in the ass. And that's why I do this for you, but if you don't want me to do it for you and you want to tackle this on your own, these are the things that you have to do.
I have a challenge for folks. And I say this every time I speak to a lead or somebody that says they might need some help, the first thing I say out loud, and I say it to them for their own comfort, but for myself too, to remember how to phrase my wording. Not every insurance claim needs a public adjuster.
Amen.
Yep.
But every claim needs thorough documentation and education on the policy.
That's exactly right. Boy.
If you say that even to yourself out loud, your
Yes.
approach to the conversation with your lead now becomes disarmed, or the wall comes down, or that sales pitchy tone goes away. Like it really does. It changes the way you engage this person, and that person perceives you.
Here at Remedy Claims, one of the things that we say is we take claims based on their merit.
Yes.
You know, and
Ooh,
generally,
very nice.
yeah. And so we have a very clear meritocracy that's in place on how we take claims. And number one, before I really take a claim and offer my services, I like to see that it's somewhere between 7 to 10 times the deductible. You know, and so if I don't think that claim is going to reach 7 to 10 times the deductible, it is probably something that we just need to walk them through the process. I have often taken claims pro bono when it falls below that 7 to 10 threshold. At one point in time, I even figured out an algorithm on how to figure out whether or not a claim should be taken just based on numbers.
They need to get at least half of what is it?
Yeah, because it does. It needs to make sense.
Basically, I mean, yeah, right. I mean, because they need 50% of the ACV in order to get the work started. Because if the contractor is approaching it like a retail job, which I wish most of them would, you know, if they're approaching it like a retail job, it is reasonable to say that they're going to need 50% down to get the work started. You know, and that's where we kind of want them to land, is we want them to have 50% of the cost of the job up front so that they can get the work started. And so, I mean, there's a lot there. We do take claims based on their merit, and that's what you've got to do. And I think networking, I'm a member of a group called Master Networks is the name of the group. It is a much smaller organization than BNI. It is but it's very similar to BNI in that it has like exclusive seats. You're not going to run into a lot of public adjusters at any networking meeting you go to. And so you're going to be just about the only public adjuster in the room if you decide to show up to one. Right. But you know, especially if you're a solopreneur, you're the only person that's working in your firm, your judge, jury, and executioner, so to speak. That room is not just full of a lot of potential clients that know a lot of potential clients, but it's also full of a lot of resources, whether you need video editing, whether you need social media help. Because if you're like me and you hate social media, you need some kind of help. Help getting a website put together, help finding health insurance for yourself and what that looks like. That's right. I mean, it is full of a ton of resources. So there's a lot of reason to get in there.
Well, and structuring your business correctly. And
yes, I mean, there's all kinds of benefits to show up. The good ones will have some sort of educational training that's attached to it. I know that a lot of chambers of commerce do that as well, but that's one of the things that you want to look at. And there is actually, Donna, what is the name of that website? When we first started networking, you went to a website, and was it on, is it meetups.com? And you can, if you go to meetups.com, you'll find a lot of networking meetings, whether it's chambers of commerce, different ones, that you can find those sorts of things that are going on business networking meetings. There's also a lot of homogenous groups. Like if you're a golfer, you can find a lot of people who like to play golf on Saturday. And you know what? Not a bad place to go. You know what I mean? If you just have a particular interest and you show up and it's like, well, today I'm a golfer, but every other day I'm a public adjuster. And, you know, if you want to know
what we do.
You know, and that's
we really are in a people-centric industry. It is very, very people-centric.
And I mean, one of our core values is people.
The first one.
Yeah, the very first is we are about people. And I know that there's a lot of really good public adjusters out there, ones that chase hurricanes and serious events. One that pops to mind is Cal Spoon. He shows up and he doesn't sell a single claim for the first 2 weeks he's there, or at least tries not to, I don't think. He spends a lot of time
he serves the community.
He spends a lot of time, you know, making sure that he serves the community. And that's really what your job number one is, especially in one of those events. That's one of the things that you want to do. And so, but these they will give you an opportunity not only to have training, but it will let you tell your story. That'll let you practice sort of your little 8 10-minute sales pitch, and you're, kind of like your living room pitch that you might have with somebody, and explain to them what a public adjuster is. And remember, I think in my networking meeting, I learned that people have somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 contacts in their phone. Okay.
I've heard of something like that too. Yeah.
If you've got 20 people in there that listen to what you're saying, you are literally talking to 4,000 people. And what a great way to raise awareness and all that. And look, you are going to get calls for somebody who rear-ended somebody at a red light. You know what I mean? And that's not really what we do. One, it's liability, and two, it's auto. But look, if a Bentley got wrecked, I'd have a conversation with the guy. You know what I mean? Like if a Bentley got hit by a hailstorm, I would sit down and talk to that auto claim. There's the people will end up calling you on a lot of different insurance things, but they will trust you. And so networking is a great way to raise awareness. I love kind of how Jess put it. You expand your network by just going and building relationships, whether it's with the police chief, the fire department, and don't be the guy that just shows up to drop off a business card. Be the guy that shows up to drop off donuts, the kolaches, and be a resource to these guys. Establish yourself as a resource in the community, and it's a great way to absolutely build a network. You want to tie anything up there, Jess?
I was going to say, I remember reading a book where somebody was talking about how to grow your network locally. One of the things that it was saying was, go be that Santa Claus. Go volunteer to be the Santa Claus at the mall or at, your town square's Christmas event or whatever. By being present at other people's ribbon cuttings is another example. By being present at community events, just in and of itself, being present, you build that trust, and people automatically will just naturally ask the question, what is it they do again? Is that a doctor? Is that an attorney? Is that no, it's a public adjuster. A what? What's a public adjuster? It generates a conversation.
Right?
Right. Yeah, we're all going to get a bad name anyway.
So many people are scared of the word adjuster. I think it's so funny. But I go to one every week. And we have tons of ribbon cuttings, and we have lots of different events that we can show up. And I think the interesting thing that you brought up there, and I just kind of want to tie this on before we get into round 3, is charity events. Man, we have got somebody that we do business with that does like a lab rescue, and she goes to a food truck yard, like once a year, and they do a big thing on lab rescues around the holidays, the food pantries, those sorts of things. You never can tell who you might run into that might have an insurance claim and it's your chance to do some pro bono work. And if you're not doing pro bono work, then you're not doing all you can to raise awareness about what you do.
Thank you.
So go get out there and do some pro bono work. It's valuable. And I do pro bono work all the time. I really do, especially on the smaller claims where it doesn't really, warrant my
just
involvement.
Walk them through it.
But just to walk them through them, help and build. We had people over for game night just last week that I walked through in a pro bono situation. It was probably a $12,000, $15,000 claim. And I helped them put together, I wrote the estimate for them. I organized their photos. And then I said, this is what you've got to do. And at the end of it all, when your contractor hands you an invoice, send that thing in with the words cost incurred written across it.
That's right.
And
it's not a bid. It's paid.
It's not a bid. Cost incurred, and it is paid. So send that paid invoice in. And I think that is a great way to raise awareness. And guys, there is one other category that we're going to be looking at, which I just call public forums in round 3. And it could be any public forum whatsoever. But round 3 starts right after this. When choosing someone to help with your online marketing, make sure you go with someone that has years of experience. Our good friend Sally at Thrive has over 20 years of digital marketing experience. She can build you a beautiful 15-page, sleek, interactive website, post on your social media platforms multiple times a week. She can do a video, an amazing CRM to manage, and maintain and nurture your clients' text, email marketing, review generation, a business listing on 60 plus search engines, including 3 voice networks, appointment scheduling, estimates, invoices, payment processing, and more. She will also create for you on Google, a Facebook page, in Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you need these for your businesses, she'll help you create those pages on all of those sites. You already have these pages. She'll optimize them for you as well. Call or message Sally today. If you want to get started, you can reach her at 214-789-1651. Again, her name is Sally Brigance. Her number is 214-789-1651. And you'll also get a landing page the day you sign up. When you send her a referral that signs up with her, she'll credit your billing account. Logos are also available. And she also offers a lead generation service and SEO, search engine optimization, where she can guarantee you to appear on the first page of Google or your money back. It is spelled THRYB. And you can find my good friend Sally Brigance, and that's spelled SALLIE. Brigance, BRIGANCE, and she can be reached once again at 214-789-1651. Round 3, public forums. This can be anything. If you have an HOA, go to your HOA meeting. If you have, again, we were talking about charities. Great place to go. I bet you do a lot of that. Have you had the opportunity to do a lot of that yet, Jess? I mean, are you trying to do that?
Actually, I have not. I have not had a chance. And again, it goes back to I've always just kind of been like at the ready around the July, August timeframe to just, pack that go bag and go wherever the storm hits. So this is the first year of being a PA. So I'm going on my fifth year, where now I need to kind of slow down and put down some roots.
Yeah. Right.
Work at home.
Sure.
And then start bringing in employees so that I can still kind of go bounce around to some hurricanes that we're working, and I can go up to the Great Lakes states where the bulk of our company and our company headquarters is, and then, come back down to Texas. I like that freedom to be able to travel. But yeah, this concept of setting down roots and growing, from right in the backyard out, is new for me. The social media part is not new. That I've been enjoying being a part of forums from the get-go, from a brand spanking new PA to where I'm at now. I've always been just kind of hanging around inside groups and helping out other PAs, helping out other roofers, just talking to whomever and learning from them as well. And then giving them kudos for what I was taught.
Absolutely.
The networking part is newer, but I feel like I finally got, my feet wet and I'm doing all right in there. Now it's just kind of just,
you'll be
maintaining the presence. Yeah, it'll be maintaining the presence. But now this public forum thing, I'll give you a little transparency here because I like transparency. I went to ChatGPT and I said, you are a public insurance adjuster. You are trying to raise awareness to a public that has no idea your profession exists. How would you raise awareness in public forums? Because I struggle with the word, like what does public forums in 2023 look like? When I think of public forums, I think back in the day, it was, the subway station would be of trouble. Yeah. Your homecoming games or whatever.
Sure.
Well, it didn't generate very good results, but it did make me think of, okay, I need to be volunteering at my kids' school games, their ball games, and have that company polo or having that. What is it you do again? Oh, you're a public adjuster. Even just
Great
by
idea.
working the concession stands. Working the concession stands. Everybody wants to know what you do for a living. Sponsor a team. That would be a great.
Man,
I mean, because your whole community is right there, and everybody loves supporting the kids. So sponsor a team. So I struggle with public forums, but I did come up with those as two that I am definitely going to execute this year. Tina's probably listening going, oh shit, we're about to sponsor a team. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm definitely going to bring that up to company leadership. Hey, have we thought about this? Like, have we ever done it before? What do you think? And then I got to go obviously do the cost analysis behind all of that and present that. I want to do that first before.
I don't want to step on any toes or touch a bruise here, Jess, but one of the things that I think that your intention in your heart to do was incredible. And obviously, it was that documentary that you guys were working on, and you got two videos. And look, man, the videos that I watched
were really good.
Oh my God.
I think I told you them.
Okay, so let me tell you the backstory of that. This gentleman, the company, his name was Storium, is the name of his company. His name was Giorgio Da Vinci. I should have known just by that name that something was off. And I did. I was kind of but the content he put together on so many other people and their businesses, I was like, I have to work with this guy. His talent is amazing. Basically, his business model was he wanted to take businesses and raise awareness about that person's business through a docu-series. So it's kind of documentary flavored in the way that it's put together. Tug some heartstrings, get to the story of the business owner and how the business developed. That was his business platform. He reached out to me because he said, I just went through this. I just witnessed Hurricane Ida. This is insane. And seeing what you're doing down here and everything. He says, I want to highlight your business because you're a woman doing this in what seems to be a man, driven industry. And I said, one, I really don't look at myself that way. I don't look at myself as, be female and male. And I was in the military. I'm very much desensitized by that. I'm one of the guys. I don't know. I mean, but I said, you know what though? I said, what you do with your content and how you package it and deliver it to an audience. I said, I want to use this to raise awareness of what a PA is. I don't want to say hire me because I have my 1099 company, right? Because we're independent PAs. So my 1099 company name is EMP Adjusters, which stands for Ethical and Moral Public Adjusters. But so I said, I don't want to say hire me EMP Adjusters. I want to say, look, when devastation hits your property, you have an option. And I teamed up with Randy Thompson, who owns Building Damage Consultants out of Covington, Louisiana. I teamed up with him on that hurricane because he was a small man shop at the time. Now he's grown, but he needed that surge help for those Hurricane Ida claims because they hit right in his backyard. And I mean,
sure,
overnight the phones were ringing off. He had hundreds of people call in to help work the claims. So I teamed up with that for like a surge effort. And then once it got back on his feet, and all that stuff and things kind of settled down a little bit, then, I just go on and whatever. So we teamed up on that. And I asked him, I said, would you please consider teaming up with me on this? Because again, I didn't want it to be the focus is me. I wanted it to be, okay, I'm a PA, but look, here's another PA. And we're two PAs with two different companies, right? Two different logos, two different companies, everything. But we're collaborating. We're working together. We operate in the same space for one common goal, and that is to help put people back together. So it was supposed to be a 3-part docuseries, so 10 minutes each. We were promised, and it was in writing, that this was going to be on Amazon Prime, which was the big kicker for me. I was like, that's what I want. I want inside everybody's living room.
Kind of effort. Yeah.
Just knowing that they have a PA. So when disaster strikes, go call yourself a PA. Don't have to call me. You don't even have to call Randy. Go find yourself a PA. And if you don't know, give us a call. We'll help you find one.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be used as education, not so much to highlight a business profile. So luckily, thank you, Jesus. Randy was like, yeah, I'm all about it. So we did. We teamed up on that, and it was beautiful. We got 2 out of the 3 episodes. Unfortunately, the gentleman, he did actually suffer a psychotic break. And when he came out of that break, he just ran off. just completely disappeared. Didn't finish. I know he got a couple other people in our industry, same thing, didn't finish for them either. And now we're like, now I have these 2 beautifully done episodes and I don't know what to do with them. But we should have many more of these. Like we should have PAs team up together and find somebody and say, look, the return on investment may not be big for me individually or you individually, but for us as a whole. And I really think, the APA would be a great resource for that, or some of these big, nationwide policyholder advocacy groups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's raise awareness that way.
I think you're right. I'm not against the idea either. Just throwing stuff against the wall here is doing like a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo on something like that where we could crowdfund some of these efforts. I mean, I would want to vet whoever's going to be doing obviously the filming and the editing and the story that we're going to tell. But I want people. Yeah,
that guy. He and his editor, Erica Groban, I think is her name. They're phenomenal. I feel really bad that he had his break.
It was shot so well. I mean, and if you don't have it, we're going to get those links, and they're going to be dropped down here in the comments. We'll get those, and we'll also post those links on the Pain of the Claim, so that you can go watch them. I mean, I watched both of them. Kind of after Jess and I had determined that we were going to do this, I went back and watched them again. They are so well done and they tell the story so well. And I think that there's so much more story to be told that, there's different losses, whether it is a hurricane loss. Texas suffered an incredible freeze loss. And I cannot tell you the number of stories. People who have suffered like the isolated incidents, like the fires, it may not be catastrophe related, but it's catastrophe to them. It's a catastrophe in their world. So go ahead.
Prime example, June 15th, right here in my own backyard, we got hit with the derecho.
Yes.
I was like, wait, didn't Iowa have one of those years ago? I had to actually go look it up. I was like, what constitutes a derecho? Because I heard the term, on one of the weather whatevers, and I was like, really? It's a derecho? I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. It was definitely straight line hurricane force winds, and trees were down everywhere. It looked like I was driving through, well, no, because most of those are Cat 4. It looked like a Cat 2 zone, easily Cat 2 zone. But this is country. We're out in the country. Like, so people are so far spread apart, and you have to drive a mile down to your next neighbor, to check on them and make sure they're okay. But they don't know. They definitely don't know that they should file an insurance claim for a lot of these. They try to do things themselves, and they're trying to take these big trees off their houses. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, stop. But who would have thought that an inland hurricane through East Texas, middle of nowhere?
Yeah. There's a lot of these different weather anomalies that you'll run into. A derecho, a microburst. Microbursts are strong enough to push an airliner out of the sky. It happened in Dallas back in the 80s with Delta Flight 98. For those of you who don't know the area, basically there's a highway that runs right along the side of the landing strips. It's 114. It's kind of where the Dallas Cowboys used to play football, over in that area. And that plane actually hit the highway, so it didn't get anywhere near the runway before that pilot had miscalculated and it pushed it out of the sky. I've worked microbursts, and you'll see these from time to time. I mean, like, I worked them out in the Pacific Northwest where they were breaking ponderosa pines 90 foot tall like toothpick.
Mm-hmm.
And
just those little half snaps.
They are destructive. And I mean, so there's all of these different sort of events that happen to people that they are desperate, and look, handling a claim requires a lot of you got to be gathered. You know what I mean? Like, mentally gathered. And so, because when people's homes get destroyed, I mean, like, there's not like, well, we'll just go run over to the other house and stay there until this one gets fixed. I mean, you've got to move, and you've got to move quickly. There's not a lot of time to sit and vet things. And that's the beautiful thing about a public adjuster is they have a lot of those resources. What they don't handle themselves, they have resources at their fingertips, whether it's a housing options, contractors that can talk to, especially when it comes to mitigating contractors. How do I protect there's been a fire. How do I protect my home from other people coming into it just to explore the fire, and then they get hurt and your liability. I mean, and now you're liable. Right. How do I protect these things and continue to protect myself when the most awful, horrible thing has just happened to me, and I still got to worry about all of this stuff too? I don't even get to take a breath and worry about myself. Public adjusters really help those things out. And Jess is right. There's a lot of organizations from the American Policyholders Association, which is their primary effort is to prosecute fraud on the insurance company side, on the insurance carrier side.
Good point.
I mean, that's their direction. I know Jack Hanks has started a new public adjuster that is going to raise the integrity of the profession, as well as raise awareness.
PPAFA would be another really good resource to reach out to.
Yes,
Cal and Melanie. And
what does that
Sean
stand
Hodge
for? I can't. It's the
Policyholder
Association.
Preservation.
Yeah, PPA, Policyholder Preservation Association.
Okay, of America. Yeah, you got it. Good job.
PPAA. Woo! Yeah, there we go. I know that there is one called
because they're very big on education. So
United Policyholder. I know Sarah Parker. Yeah, she's involved in something called the United Policyholders Association, and I know they've got some charity events that are coming up at this point in time. But guys, if you're a public adjuster and you're listening to this, be aware that there's some help there that can get that can help you raise awareness and team up with somebody. Man, that went
quick.
So fast. I can't believe
that did go fast.
I can't believe it's over. Jess, thank you so much for joining us. Just before we go real quick, I may have gotten the name of the people that you represent and help out. How do people get a hold of you? Website, address? If you don't want to give your phone number, I completely understand.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. How can people out in East Texas find you?
Yep. So it's Public Service Adjusting. And you can find that just by Googling Public Service Adjusting. Or find me on social media, because I'm all over social media everywhere.
Yes,
or you can just shoot me an email. It's Jessica, JESSICA @PS Adjusting. So that's P as in Papa, S as in Sierra, adjusting.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining us here on the Rumble. Guys, if you have enjoyed what you heard and you like what you hear, please click like and subscribe. It help us spread the news of public adjusting, help us help other public adjusters and their education, because that's kind of what we're all about here. And if you know somebody that you think might find this useful, I encourage you to share it. Please share it wherever you can, so we can raise the awareness of public adjusting. And guys, we will be back next week. But in the meantime, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And we will see you on the next one.
My hand on the hammer, ready to ram you like the fire slammer jammer. Yes, we're coming up, don't even try to diminish it. I won't start it, but I damn sure will finish it.